Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Kairaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400 or 635-9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Brusubi opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
Agada. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Ah, janno mi yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Ha. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Ha. Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Ha e wo moyo diat ha.
Apelenta
ni mo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, Takaful Fund, management of Zakat, management of Awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Good afternoon and welcome. This is the Brunch. I am Lamin Cham and welcome to our weekly look at current affairs. Today we will revisit the Inter-Party Committee, the body that was set up to try to bring convergence in terms of ideas and programs of all political parties in the Gambia. Now this body or this model has received so much praise around the world, with people commending the Gambia for coming up with such a body where disputes or confrontations or tensions during election or before elections could be channeled through with a way of bringing harmony and maintaining peace in elections or during election times. Today we will look at the activities of the IPC and their programs, the programs they have in store as we enter into crucial matters dealing with Gambian elections. This includes the constitution that is being debated and will be tabled in the National Assembly very soon. We will also discuss, of course, that also embodies diaspora voting and all sort of things related to election matters in the Gambia. And with me in the studio to do that is Edrisa Jallow. He is a senior member of the Inter-Party Committee. Of course, he is a member of the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, DOI. But today we will have his perspective, both from the viewpoint of the IPC and his own self about matters that are currently occupying forefront in our national discourse. Mr. Jallow, welcome. Very good and very pleasant all the time to have you.
Thank you.
Good.
I'm pleased to be here.
Yes. So we are going out to very important matters in our election matters. That is, the constitution is there. Actually, the constitution embodies a lot, but then of course it has electoral matters. That is very important to IPC. And like I said, some of the aspects that people are looking forward to is the third term business, whether the politicians now will agree as to whether the third term clause or the second term, rather the second term clause or third term clause will be dealt with, how it will dealt with. Let me ask you, what is going to be the position of the IPC in all these matters? But let me let's start by asking you to bring up to speed the activities of the IPC in the recent past.
Well, the IPC, as we know it, has been created in 2006.
Okay.
It came about as a result of...
So you see, most people might think that it's just after the 2016.
No. It was first initiated in 2006 during the NAD APRC political
Yes.
challenges,
Yes.
to be mild. Mm-hmm. That was when the IPC was really first conceived.
Okay.
And it was, it started. The first co-chairs were Yankuba Toure
Okay.
of APRC, then Halifa Sallah.
Yes.
Because Halifa Sallah
was head of NAD then.
who was coordinator of NAD.
Yeah.
The chairperson of NAD then was
Hassan Musa.
Hassan Musa Kamara.
Right.
And along the way, the APRC showed no interest in continuing dialogue because the IPC generally is a forum for dialogue and cooperation between political parties across the spectrum, whether those in government or those in the opposition. Those in government, those in the opposition should recognize that they are the ones who are legitimately voted for to occupy that position, and they should render services. And those in the opposition also, the government should recognize that they are in their legitimate right. It is in their legitimate right to also hold the government to check.
Provide an alternative.
Yes, that should not bring about any animosity to the point that it brings our state of peace in the country to question, to disrepute.
Okay.
So the IPC generally is a body that works to ensure that sustainable peace is attained throughout, as we normally do call Gambia the smiling coast. We want that to be a reality, not only to be mentioned in words without it being practiced. Words must
it should not be a mere slogan.
Yes, words must be marked by deeds. And that's the main focus of the IPC.
But it gathered a lot of momentum, or impetus, if you like, post-2016. I mean, with the coming into power of the new government.
Yes, you know, when the IPC was somehow dormant.
Yes, that's right.
The better part of the between
2026 to
2007 downwards to 2016. In fact, many attempts were made to revive it, but it couldn't work, to the point that the opposition had to create another body, the GOFA, that is Gambian Opposition for Electoral Reforms. And letters were written, correspondence were made for some electoral reforms to take place. Nothing happened. That is what led to the Solo Sanding uprising, and that's history now. But that also served as a turning point in Gambian politics,
exactly
as we know it
now.
Solo Sanding's demise served as a catalyst to bring all the opposition together to work to eliminate what we would have called a dictatorship at the time. And
interesting.
That is how the IPC got revived again after the 2016 presidential elections. Then the UN and other well-meaning Gambians suggested that it's good to revive the IPC with the support, of course, the full support of the IEC, because they are seeing the IPC as a partner organization that can help them in mitigating some of the challenges they are confronted with, especially during campaign periods.
Good. So you mentioned part of the problem with its dormant during the Jammeh regime was the reluctance of the governing APRC in conforming to the parties. But has there been any cooperation this time, changes in the position of the ruling party, in this case the NPP? I know before the NPP, there used to be a coalition. How did it exist during that time?
Okay, the coalition government that came into being in 2016 was without a party tag. It was an independent candidate who stood to contest for the presidential elections, and he had the support of all the other opposition parties. So what the IPC did, which was an innovation and a very good one at that, was those parties that formed that coalition, they selected one amongst them to become the co-chair of the IPC. And it happened again. Halifa had to come back because he was the spokesperson of the opposition coalition that won the presidential elections. And of course, because it has this co-chair system, the other co-chair came from the opposition, and then the APRC was in the opposition.
Yes.
So the APRC naturally became the other co-chairs.
Because they were in the opposition.
That was good. That was very healthy.
That was
because,
why Amul Nyas
and
Halifa were co-chairs.
In fact, CDJ was the first to be there.
Okay.
Before Amul Nyasi.
Okay.
You know, that demonstrated the goodwill from the then opposition, which is now in government
to continue,
as opposed to the APRC, which was in government and now in the opposition.
Yeah, so you see how the table changed.
You see, it shows some degree of maturity from the opposition and accommodation.
Yeah.
And that brought us a lot of goodwill. And it made the environment, the political environment, conducive for people to operate without much restraint.
Yeah, because like you said, one key important thing was the ruling party should be respected to be the people with the people's mandate,
exactly.
Whereas the opposition also should be respected in its role as the body with the alternative views, choice for the people.
Exactly. Sure.
And they should exist in such a way that there shouldn't be any unnecessary tension that should strengthen the security of the country. So you are right. We could see that the table changed, but the opposition, like I said, the former opposition actually showed more goodwill and maturity, accommodating the APRC, which wasn't the case when they were in power.
Exactly.
So that was that
was a pace setter.
A pace setter, yeah.
For Gambia to look at what real politics is all about. Politics is not about having enemies. It's about coming up with alternative plans to salvage a country, a people, to give the people the dignity and prosperity they deserve. So if you have vowed to work solely to promote the interests of the citizens, of the people, I see no reason why you should turn around and make another citizen an enemy just because he has the same objective. What you need to do is to compete in ideas and look at which idea will take the country forward. And we all subscribe to that idea and move our country forward.
Indeed.
That's what politics should be about, nothing else.
Nothing else. So looking at the IPC today, of course, we know that a lot of water has passed under the bridge from that part, from where you're talking about the post 2026. Now we are in an era where we found that coalition, sort of disintegrated. What happened after that with the IPC?
Well, what happened after the disintegration of the APR, the coalition?
Well, you are right. In some aspect, the APR. You know what I'm going at.
That's a slip of the tongue.
But then you are not completely wrong.
That's a slip of the tongue. Okay. What happened was, after disintegration of the coalition, the tenure had to be continued. And the co-chairperson system is such that each co-chairperson will serve only for a period of 5 years, one term.
Okay.
And at the end of the term, we had to select some other co-chairs. And of course, from again the ruling party or the ruling coalition, and one from the opposition. And that is how we selected Sekuba of the NPP, and Samba Balde of GDC from the opposition. And Sekuba, NPP, another person from that coalition could have also been the chairperson, the members of the APRC, the members of the PPP, the members of the GPDP who were part of that coalition, any one of them could have been the chairperson.
I see.
Because these are positions of service. These are not positions of privilege.
Yeah, but at least
you are not paid anything.
But at least you represent the diverse, the diverse political divide.
Yes, what you do is you work assiduously to ensure that peace prevails at all times.
So, how have been your recent activity? I saw that some women program involving women was held at the Sadauda Kairaba, and opposition politicians, political leaders were invited. What was that about?
Yeah, to give you a broader view of what the IPC is doing, is in every organization, there are times when you take steps to develop your activities such that it will be in tune with the challenges that you are faced with. We all do know that Gambia is a country where 51% of the population are women.
Yes.
And they also contribute a lot when it comes to vote counting, because they are the ones who go out there and queue and vote. So it will be to the interest of the Gambia for the women also to participate in seeking for leadership positions. And we are all created equal. And once we are all created as equals, then each and every one of us can contribute his or her quota towards national development. So why should we restrain anyone from participating? So we saw it as a need, not only for the women, but even for the youth and the disabled, that they should all be brought in the fold, and then we try to take advantage of our collective intelligence. Because, I mean, there is no segregation when it comes to intelligence. Someone who is remotely placed can contribute immensely towards your developmental agenda without having the endowment, the fiscal endowment that you have. So, and what is important is for the world to be a prosperous world, for the Gambia to be a prosperous Gambia, for the people to live in dignity. So that is why IPC is seeking to be an all-inclusive organization. Hence the need for the women branch IPC, the youth branch IPC, and in each and every branch, the disabled are being given room to participate. They are being accommodated.
Interesting. So, people have spoken that this is an institution that should stay, given that we have people coming from outside to come and understudy the IPC. I remember there was a high-level Sierra Leonean delegation which came. So, if you are to institutionalize IPC, it certainly must have a permanent funding source. How did you go about that?
Well, we've tried to make it a statutory body.
Exactly.
From the beginning. We still have some hurdles, though we think we will...
Why do you think there should be hurdles when all parties...
Yes, people may have different perspectives at different times. But notwithstanding, I know progress is being registered, although at a snail pace, but we will be there. And to help make you and the audience understand better, the IPC, I don't think will be restrained by the lack of funding from one source. Because as the IPC is growing, so we are also trying to be resourceful enough to think of ways and means of getting our developmental partners to understand the need to support the IPC to ensure that there is sustainable peace in the country, which would, of course, have an overspilling effect in other countries in the sub-region, just as you have said, Sierra Leone came in to understudy the IPC. So what the IPC is trying to do right now, in fact, we are building a lot of committees right now, one of which is on political analysis, program, message development, and mediation. Okay. And the committee is charged by the IPC to look at the peculiarities of the Gambian political situation and draw programs, tailor those programs around those peculiarities and defend them. Then once you send that to all the political parties in the country and they append their signature, giving you support to go out there and raise the funds, then you can take to your international development partners, the UN, the AU, the ECOWAS, the Commonwealth, the EU, for funding. And some of these activities must also be result-oriented, so that those who are going to fund you will be convinced that this will be a confidence-building exercise among the electorate. And that's very important, that's key. We do a lot of things, we talk about a lot of things, but we tend to forget that you need the confidence of the people in order to have sustained peace. Then you start by asking yourself, which areas are we talking about? What are the challenges? Where do people really find it difficult to convert, associate themselves with the electoral process and move on? Like you have said, the Constitution is being debated.
I think we should plunge into it right away.
Yes. Fine. The IPC would want to participate and would work on the possibility of participating, because it is the single institution in the Gambia that can tell you they have members in every nook and cranny of this country. And all these members are ready to volunteer and work to ensure that there is peace in this country. And these people are coming from all the political parties across the political spectrum. It's a cross-section of our society. Okay. So, knowing that the Constitution is to be debated, knowing that people need to be sensitized, the IPC would definitely want to engage the people, be part of the process of not only sensitizing the people, but also being part of the process to engage in the monitoring exercise of the voting during referendum, so that IPC will serve as a buffer now between the IEC and the general public, because we are from all the political parties. If we should say, so far so good, the conduct of the elections are fair, the voting went without hitches, and we are talking from a position of strength, because we are representatives of all the political parties, then we would have given the IEC a field day to go and relax, because it means the ordinary people already have their confidence registered.
Now, talking about the Constitution, we know there have been problems with its, its fate in Parliament. There were divisions. Those divisions were clearly on political lines.
Yes.
Now, if we want to avoid that kind of division, so that it may not suffer again as the same fate it has suffered, what would be the role of the IPC, since you claim to represent all political parties, and they are the ones who have these differences over the Constitution? For example, I am hearing political parties are saying, well, if the Constitution came as it was before, fine, we will go. But if there are changes, we're not going to accept. So those kind of issues, when it comes to IPC, how do you confront those?
Well, that's quite an interesting question. It needs a lot of thinking in order to give the right answer. What I think we as IPC should do is to encourage people from all the political parties to support the passing of the constitution at the level of the parliament. And then once it is sent to the people, those responsible should campaign. If you are from a party that does not want the constitution to pass during referendum, go out there and campaign. If you are someone who wants the constitution to pass at the referendum, go out there and campaign. And give the Gambian citizens the chance to express their will.
So in other words, you are saying that...
but once you block...
What you would have loved is at least to pass the parliamentary stage.
Exactly.
And the people who might not be happy with certain aspects would then form the no or yes campaign.
Exactly. And once they do that, the supremacy of the will of the people prevails according to our constitution.
Yeah, but the issue is most people would like to have this convergence in parliament before, so that when it gets to referendum, because the threshold for it to pass the referendum is very high, 75%.
Yes.
So if you have divisions on political lines at that time, well, the anxiety, the fear is that it might not pass, it might not be voted, it might not go through.
Well, the threshold, we can look at that and say, okay, 75% is high.
It's very, very high.
Let's bring it down to 60%. Let's bring it down to 55%. Let's bring it down to 51%. It all depends on us. Because one thing we must bear in mind, that the Gambia is here to stay. And the Gambian people are here to stay. The politicians will come and go.
Oh, yes.
We had the PPP days.
Yes.
We had the APRC days. We had the coalition days. Now we are in the NPP days. So who knows who is going to be there tomorrow, next tomorrow. So prepare yourself, prepare your country, so that they will weather the storm. But if you do not prepare your country, you do not prepare your people, you are just looking at your personal daily interests, forgetting that you are a transient being. You cannot live
forever.
Forever. You will live just for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And you have your children, and your children's children may be born here.
Absolutely.
This is where their roots are. So if you spoil everything just because of your narrow-mindedness, then tomorrow your child or your great-grandchild may suffer from the wrong deeds you have undertaken at the time you are in office, or you are in the opposition. So we should be fair-minded. We should have our country at heart. And when making laws, when campaigning, when supporting, do not do it on parochial basis. Do it on the basis of national development.
One of the most contentious issues with the other one, with the one that's been presented to Parliament and got defeated, was the issue about the term limits.
Yeah.
There were other things like people representing Christian voices said they wanted the secular clause in there. Yes, those are the two main things apart from other small areas. But everybody agreed that the most contentious issues that really led to the defeat of the bill in Parliament was the third term business. When you approach that in the viewpoint of IPC, where all the parties are represented. Then that's quite a challenge.
Of course, it is. The thing is, the IPC is not an institution where we pass laws that will affect the state. What we can do is to utilize our role as members of other political parties to persuade thought. That is using persuasive influence as a tool to reach our goal.
For example, do you see IPC coming together and meeting the leader of the NPP, President Barrow, because it is him, who matters when it comes to second term, and said, "Look, sir, we feel that," and there you are going with NPP members of his own party.
Of course.
We feel that, look, you going for another term, even though you may argue the constitution, the time limit is not there, but we feel that going for a third term is definitely not going to set a good example for what we want, and we want to appeal you from the level of the IPC to forgo the idea. Would that be too difficult for you?
Well, that is why in the IPC we are thinking of coming up with programs that will ensure that no one would have the chance to work against the interests of the Gambian people. And here what I mean by the interests of the Gambian people is when the coalition 2016 was being promoted, one of the principal arguments was we must bring an end to self-perpetuating rule.
Yes, that was prominent.
And Gambians did vote because of such pronouncements that there will be an end to self-perpetuating rule. But there is a difference between what is legally binding and what can be politically binding.
What could be good practice?
What can be good practice?
Yes.
That is, if you have the political will of the people, not of the government, to play their role as an oversight institution, because the biggest oversight institution is the populace. Once you know they are conscious, once you know you cannot buy them, you cannot induce them. Once you know you may lose your position if you do certain things, you will be careful.
So in other words, what President Barrow should look at is what is the direction of the thinking of the population?
Of the population.
Are they in support of him going for another term, or they would prefer
And
him?
unfortunately,
Yes.
for this country, we do not have
Opinion polls or what?
opinion polls.
Yeah, but
So all you do is to listen to 2 or 3 people
And-
say this and form an opinion and say this is the opinion. If we have had opinion polls, it would have been different.
But it's not also very difficult to read the minds of the people if you are very much careful in
For me,
following.
if I am to discuss this, I don't want to take it personally.
Yeah, I know.
If I am to take it personally, well, for me, the 3 years was enough. No, I'm just,
yeah,
I
that's
am
right.
just telling you that
yeah.
is what would have put the Gambia
Yes.
in its right place,
Yes.
and we would have been the envy of the world.
Yeah. But it's not late. Still, well, unfortunately,
Yes.
regrettably, we lost that.
So we squandered that
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah. But then
Now
it's
we
not
have
late.
we have the first 5 years, which people were contesting. That was not the agreement. We went to the 2021 elections, and he is given a second mandate. If I am him,
Yeah.
and I cannot be him, and he cannot be me, that I am conscious of. But if I am him, I would have just said, okay, now I have 2 terms.
Yes.
Let me bow out and allow someone else to move the country forward. But you know, if you are carried away by privilege, you will hardly be able to face reality and accept that this country, these people, they are not my commodities. They do not belong to me. We found this country here, we found the people here, we are going to leave this country here, we are going to leave these people here. So we have just appeared on the stage and we have performed the role that we are expected to perform, rightly or wrongly.
Yeah, we should disembark.
So we should exit the stage and allow another actor to come
on stage
in order to move the country forward.
In other words, if you are to give your personal perspective, this is what you would have loved.
Of course.
Ideally, this would have been.
That's what I would have done.
Did you see in your personal perspective, any willingness or unwillingness on the part of the president? Even though it's 2 years to go, we have, but there have been debates about, we have opposition people, saying that, no, you cannot go to third term, and his people have started, no, he has every right to go to third term. He even himself did not categorically say, I'm going to run, but he would say, I'm going to be my party's candidate. Well, that does not explain that he is categorically going. It must be understood. But the debate seemed to have started, and did you see personally any interest? If you ask me, I would say, okay, matters like him, the other Tabaski or the other Korite, he said, well, my foundation, I will leave. Yamme left, Yawara left, I would leave. In fact, when I go, I'm going into charity. My foundation, members of my foundation have been identified, and the place where I'm going to operate from is been built. So many people believe, including I, that if somebody who is not wanting to leave until 2030 will not think along those lines. Other observers said the passing of the creation of the former president's bill and the urgency that was attached to it from the presidency or from the executive, all this suggests that the man is probably thinking of retiring, so that he want all these goodies in place, so that when he march out of #1 Marina, he would have a comfort zone to play. All these people said, well, might be suggesting that he want to leave. But then there are still some stubborn voices, around him, which could be, many people said, a political ploy not to put the pigeons among the cats now, prematurely. Who are still saying, no, he's going to be our leader, he's going to be, and then, and the other one said, oh, no, he's going to go around. So we will have to come to this. I know the next coming year or so, this debate is going to even take center stage. But did you sense anything in his manners?
Well, my experience in politics, at times when you have experience in certain things, you are not normally carried away by sentiments.
I see.
But what he says and what he does not say is immaterial to me. What is material to me is what he does at the right time and at the right moment. I will only judge him by his deeds, not by his words.
So from what you have seen him do?
For me, for him to contest or not to contest for the third term, I will definitely want to reserve my opinion when it comes to that. Because it is the same Barrow who said over TV that ni lafta fenna mo lafta minna ikawolefo ni sita itek si min kenu e wala kala. And that's mandinka. So buge dara. Da nga wax lu neex nit ñi. So demé bi am ko nga def li nga wara mëna def. That's over TV.
Lolu lum tekki ci pour yow.
Man suma bëggé ñëw sa kër. Maa ngi xiif. Bëgg naa añ. Te or na ma ne tey suma demul si Lamin Caam duma añ. Mun naa ñëw ba sa bunti kër door di la wuyal Lamin Caam yaa gore. Sunday nii la sa baay nii la.
Waaw.
yow fële nga jógee nii.
yow yaa jógee Kolior. yow yaay waa Burfoot.
yow yaay waa Burfoot yow yaay caam nangam yow yaay caam nangam man tagala bee sa yaram bi yëpp daw ma ñëw sa jabar sànni ma ne Jallow kaay fii nii ma ti mundo sama alo bi ba mu doy ma génn ma ne caam dof la rek nax naa ko.
añ naa léegi dem na. soo buggee wax sama la ne luy suñu relationship xanaa lii du maalo rek so yooyu. What an analogy. Okay.
So yooyu moom.
So you said you will judge him what he
Yes.
has done rather than try to conjecture.
So I don't want to speculate.
Late.
Whatever I say now about him going for the third time or not will be speculative. And I don't want to be judged tomorrow as someone who said things that we aren't right, that we are not well thought of. One has to be very careful as to what one says, especially in the public space.
Okay, the IPC, people were concerned also, what would you do in terms of when the constitution do get passed or when the electoral reforms are discussed again, the issue of the diaspora voting. Recently, it was the subject of a whole workshop discussion.
We will promote diaspora voting. We will support the IEC to work assiduously to be promoting diaspora voting.
The government said there has to be legislation.
Yes, we will also be talking to people in the National Assembly who are from political parties. We will prevail on them to make sure that the legislation that should take place takes place, so that there will be diaspora voting, because they are legitimate stakeholders. They contribute immensely to the economic development of our country. And we need their investments. We need to create an environment where they will be confident enough to spend their money in critical investment areas in this country. How can you do that when you disenfranchise the person? So there is more to gain out of giving them the ability to vote than to lose, because then they will feel they are part of it, they own it, they will take ownership of the country. But if you tell me, Jallow, you can invest, but you do not have a right to vote. I am out there. I cannot influence legislation. I cannot influence policy. I cannot. All I do is just to bring in my money and invest, and tomorrow it can even go the wrong way, and I cannot influence people to vote for the right people, the right agenda, because I am disenfranchised. And not only can't I influence others to vote, I myself would not be able to vote. So why would I spend millions of pounds or dollars to invest in a country where I know I belonged? That is where I came from, only to be treated as a second-class citizen and leave a country where I adopted as a second home, and I am given all the privileges to do my investments, and I have a right to vote to determine who is going to lead in that country or otherwise. So you see, these are the things that we should look at. They may look small, but they are important. They will help us move to where we should.
Well, in that case, do you, as IPC, think of having any reaching out or representation in the diaspora?
Of course.
Where do you exist in the diaspora?
This is why we said we are creating these committees, so that they will look into all these facets and come up with a blueprint and discuss that with development partners and look at how to implement those things. These are important facts. In fact, we do not want to be at the receiving end only when it comes to programs. We want to develop our programs and defend those programs, demonstrate why they are necessary to be implemented. so that once those programs are implemented, I'm telling you, you will see a different Gambia. You will see a Gambia where people are confident in our democratic process.
Many people said in order to attract or actually stamp your presence more effectively, that you should have your functions attended by political leaders, because they are the ones, majority of the people, each have their base, if they attend your programs in person, or people see you with them informed in person, that will galvanize more support and recognition for you. Have you succeeded? I remember there was a famous breakfast plan in Georgetown.
Yes. That's what I want to talk about. We used to have breakfast meetings.
Yes.
But at one time it got stalled. Now we are coming back. What we want to do is we want to have a dialogue and cooperation summit, so to speak. And we will invite the NPP and we will invite the head of state as head of the country to come and deliver a paper or give a speech on the path to peace, sustainable peace and democratic development in the Gambia. We will give the other opposition parties, of course not excluding Honorable Usman Mukunda Dabo, the UDP, to also give his perspective. We will invite Halifa Sallah also to mount the same podium, and as former co-chair and as former minority leader and Secretary General Todoy to also give his own perspective. Then we will invite all the political party leaders of all the opposition to come and give their view as to what path to take to ensure that peace is not only talked about, but it is really ingrained in our society. It becomes part and parcel of our societal norms. Peace in this sense does not mean the absence of war or the absence of feuds and fights. No, it means that you have inner peace, you have tranquility within the atmosphere, the political atmosphere of the country. That's the type of peace we are talking about, a sustainable one. And once we do that, then we will invite these development partners, people like the UN resident representative, the AU, the ECOWAS. They will also give 2 or 3 minute deliberations on their views and how they think, the path they think we should take in order to attain that. And then from there we will try to see how best to continue the implementation process, because by then we would have had the goodwill of not only the political parties, but of our development partners as well.
Let's go to the current ones. You recently issued a press release.
Yes.
Expressing concern about the venom in the messages that are
out there
exchanged between political parties, leaders. You are concerned that those things are not quite conducive towards peaceful and tensionless atmosphere. Why are you concerned about it? And what specific areas you're talking about?
Because it goes against the IEC Code of Conduct on political parties. And the IEC is a statutory body. And it is Section 92 of the Constitution that gives the IPC the mandate to come up with a code of conduct. And the IPC, the institution that I represent drew inspiration from that code of conduct that we will work to ensure that parties do not use inflammatory languages, derogatory languages against their fellow opposition
or
members or government party members, against political parties in general. Being in a different political party does not have to turn you into an enemy. In fact, what it should make you to be to me is I should use you as a reflector to my weaknesses, so that I will know what steps to take in order to prepare myself better. That's the way we should look at each other.
Do you have any specific message? I know you are not in the business of blaming or naming Mr. X or Mr. X, but do you have specific areas or cases where you think the messages are too virulent?
In the beginning I told you, how can someone, because today the Gambia is in a unique political situation. Unique in the sense that there is no person operating in the political field today that would say he or she has never been in the opposition.
That's quite an interesting observation.
There is none.
No political player actor now could say, I have never been in the opposition.
In the opposition.
So almost all of them have been.
Not almost all of them.
All of them have been.
There is no party that exists in the country today that did not draw its strength from the opposition.
I see. So that should be a lesson, a good lesson then.
So therefore, one should not castigate the opposition, because when you castigate the opposition in retrospect, you are castigating yourself.
In other words, now you hear that it's pointless to be in the opposition. The opposition cannot do anything for you. It's pointless. Well, then you hear that.
Coalition 2016 is brought about by the opposition.
Absolutely.
It is the opposition that came together, worked hard, and made sure power was shifted from where it was to where it went. And those who, won those elections, of course, now no more opposition, as they are victorious, but should not forget that they were in the opposition.
And then you hear
for perhaps maybe 22 years that the German government was in existence. So for 22 years, if you say the opposition are good for nothing, so you are insinuating that you were equally a good for nothing for 22 years.
And now you hear,
so you see,
and you hear other section of the population said, "Oh, I have never supported opposition. I've always I've never been in opposition."
Those people who say they've never supported the opposition, they might be right, because they are there to follow the
juices and the goodies,
sweets of power. So whoever is in power, they follow you. And when you fall out of...
they'll go with the new one.
They go with the new one. So those people are telling you who they really are. And they are very honest.
They're telling you their true character.
They are sincere. They are telling you, look, we are not for you. We are not for anyone. We are for the one who can give us benefit. And that's it, period. So for me, when I talk to someone and he tells me, man musuma support opposition, opposition yi da ngeen doy waar, li ma dee def rek mooy dama dee xam yow fan nga féete
ak loo naka yow loo doon.
waaw yow muy yow tan nga tan xam nga tan.
xam naa tan.
waaw volto da nga naaw rek foo gis kakaas rek ata nga wàcc nga jël yàpp bi nga lekk nga dem sa yoon jeex na waaye soo fekkee ni da nga bëgg a liggéey bu baax.
doo léegi yaa ngi wax ne politicians yep nekk fii parti yep mus nañ opposition.
There is none. Started ko Adama Barrow.
Of course.
He was in the UDP.
Adama was the biggest opposition. He was the opposition candidate.
He struggled.
Yeah, of course.
And that is why the UDP
Yes, that's right.
came up with him as the representative.
Yes.
And he won the convention.
He contested the opposition in Jimara.
Did he?
Also, yeah.
So who else?
Yeah, nobody else.
Tell me.
Everybody
The
else was
PP
in
is now in the opposition.
Yes, the PPP.
It's now in the
It's
opposition.
now in the opposition.
So tell me.
Has been in the opposition for 20-something
The
years.
APRC is now in the
In
opposition.
opposition, yes.
So tell me.
There's no key players now. The GDC was in opposition and is still in opposition.
There is.
Though he has always been in the opposition.
So if people tell you, man, do they support opposition?
Well, not the current political leaders. They can say
I don't think there is any political leader who will say so.
Well, you hear them that, of course, the current political leaders talk about the opposition. Opposition will not be, you bring it. Opposition support Mandafasoro. Opposition Amunjari.
You know what they are
The
doing.
very people who are in the opposition are saying that now.
No, xam nga soo buggee nelawee xeli nit yi li nga dee for ordinary li si mbedd bi
Wow.
loolu nga dee indi si kaw
Exactly.
pour mu nekk political discourse.
Wow.
While yow
So niman ku kumaso to be mem fola.
exactly
Ni kuma kuntangol mem do ko e kawala.
i ka wole taa i ka naati ka ke moola suula kaccaati
Atara manki.
andu wo man ñanna ke la suula kaccaati suula kaccaamu minti wala mu siimaŋo be soto la kordal kono ñaami mool be laadula kendol soto la ñaami mool la diŋol bi taala karaŋo la ñaami moolu ni saata ni tata lopitano to ibe boro soto la ñaami wala mu suula kaccaati bari ka fo ko e kaari mu kontamolti kaari mu opposition leti nte de nti tata la opposition yala nte kañ mi taala government nga domoroke nga puntum bantan puntum bantan ite ni atara amari bota je kari sabadorom
Ite la punto bana bana.
ite la puntum bantan o banta ye ya commencé côté ke
Ni do e konti.
ye modo ni ñini ibe denden na
Member.
babar
Wanta ñaat.
o mo baluña ndeysaan o baluña
Yeah, that's
abala faale wara
That's
abala
interesting.
faale wara
That's interesting. So, coming into the next election cycle, which is not far, IPC, you mentioned, outlined some of the programs, the committees you set up and stuff like that. But how do you think concretely you want to go about in promoting convergence? A lot of people had said that the next election may be full of tension. There was an independent research body in Africa which says they believe there could be tension, especially if the president wants to go for a third term. And even when he said he's not going, his anointed successor, if there is any in his party, might bring disillusionment in his party. So the government, Minister of Information had said, well, I don't believe in that analysis because there has to be tension first before it can get worse. So as far as the government or the Minister of Information is concerned, there is no tension. Everything is home and dry. We are all home and dry. We are all peaceful. There is no threats to political, tension. You've been in the IPC, so that's ideally that's what you want. But in reality, look, you have come out with a press release to say that look, we are concerned that if this is not done, there could be tension.
That is why we want to come up with these checks. That is why we are coming up with these committees. These committees will look into all this. We will even have, if we have the funding, we will be even in campaign trails. We will be following political parties. And the members of IPC that will follow you during your campaign will not necessarily come from your party.
Oh, that's interesting.
They will come from other parties, but will be there to represent the IPC and report on your messaging to the IPC. And the IPC is thinking of coming up with a biannual magazine where they will be writing the activities that they have covered, what challenges they've come across, what they think should be the solution,
Recommendations.
what recommendations there should be, so that the country will move ahead in the right direction. So that is why I said we are setting up committees to look into all this.
Yes. And then you said You said you did not spare journalists also in the needs to prevent, how to call it, language that you think are foul to be spread around.
Well, journalism in the Gambia is important in every country to have the media. But I mean, to be quite honest, some of the media practitioners in the Gambia did not receive the right training. Sometimes you see it in their interviews, in their discussions. There are biases.
Okay.
It's true that every human being, you have someone or
hold an opinion,
or somewhere you support. You hold an opinion.
Yeah.
But that should not surface.
The job says
when you are doing your
the cardinal
job.
principle is.
So I think there is need for training. This is why we are saying we have a media committee in the IPC.
Oh, it's one of the committees.
Yes.
Okay.
That is why we are saying we would want to have a biannual paper where we will report on all the activities.
Yeah, a magazine, sort of a newsletter.
A magazine, sort of, and all the challenges we have, and provide proposals for solutions, recommendations. And we will send these newsletters or magazines. We will give each party a number of copies for them to subscribe to the IPC. For example, we give each political party 50 copies, and we peg it at a price that will not be exorbitant, and we can do the same with government offices, with the embassies around the country, and with other NGOs that are really interested in promoting democracy, good governance, and the rule of law.
Good. Well, on the side of journalists promoting or amplifying foul language, well, quite as this might be important, some journalists would argue that, okay, I think in the first place it should be the politicians, from the very people who utter these languages, who should change, because in the modern era, in the modern journalism, some of these things, coverages are done live, where you don't have either the time or the means to filter out language that shouldn't have gone. For example, if the opposition leader is holding a rally, this is covered live. He contracted 1 or 2 independent media production team and is covered live. Okay, the president's messages are covered live on the GRTS. So those are problem areas.
With that I do agree with you.
Yeah.
But
So
what I am saying is, if you are giving an interview,
that's correct. That's important.
if you are covering someone live,
Yeah.
You will know this is the person who is saying these things.
Yeah.
And he is not being directed.
Yeah.
No one is asking him, and you are not contributing to.
But if that person really conduct himself in a manner that is really acceptable, that will actually avoid language being amplified, because in the first place they wouldn't utter the word. So the focus should be the politicians not even uttering language that can cause.
That is why we are saying we will dispatch our members to join the campaign trails of political parties, so that they will monitor the language utilized during such campaign periods, so that whenever you step out of bounds, you will be cautioned, you will be talked to, you will be told, look, the country is in your hands.
Yes, you should not.
And when you set the country on fire, you yourself, you do not know if you will escape or not.
Absolutely.
So it's better to think again and try to see how best to conduct yourself, so that you will not use any inflammatory language. That's why I've mentioned it over and over, maybe you did not hear it, that we will have members of the IPC who are not necessarily from the party
you belong to,
that is doing that campaign.
That political party, that political meeting.
That political meeting. There are 19 political parties in the Gambia. So even if there is a coalition of 7 political parties that are doing their own campaign. We can have 3 other parties that are outside of those 7 political parties to go and do the monitoring.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's I got the idea.
So that's the advantage the IPC has. So we can monitor each and every party. And I am saying we have the personnel to be anywhere in the country because we have members in every nook and cranny of this country.
So I was going to say the structures across the region.
Yes.
Talk about it.
We have RSTs. Those are the regional sensitization teams. We can go downstream to constituency sensitization teams, to ward sensitization teams, to village sensitization teams. So personnel, they are not our problems. And
funding is your problem, but
let me tell you one thing. The average Gambian loves this country so much that they are willing to volunteer and do this work without pay. All they are asking for is the day of their service. Give them mobility fares and food to eat. Then when they go back home, they
do their normal life.
They will do their normal life.
That's quite impressive.
What arrangement will be better than that?
Yeah, that's quite impressive. Well, Edrisa Jallow, a senior member of the Inter-Party Committee, the IPC, that is the body that combines all political parties. He's been talking here about their programs, what they have done and what they intend to achieve, and what the real situation should look like in terms of elections and in terms of politics generally in the country. I want to thank you, Mr. Jallow, who is also a member of the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, DOI, for your perspectives and the position and the role of the IPC. Thank you very much for being on the brunch. And we will definitely like to have more of you on the brunch subsequently.
Thank you too.
Thank you. And that's about it in the brunch this week. I'm Lavin Cham. We will be back, inshallah, on Saturday. Thank you for now.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Bruceby Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it.
Mbijan aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birin koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolon blabe ko.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jang.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.